Hey you guys, it's been a while since I've done a grief diary, and I think that's because I didn't feel there was anything else to say. Remember I said if I felt there was any developments or any changes or anything like that, then I would come and tell you, but I also think I'll come and just tell you now and then how things are going. I'm struggling today with it, and I don't know why. Possibly because I'm watching something that is talking about, I'm watching Tony Robbins, I'm Not Your Guru on Netflix. There's always something I'm watching while I'm doing my makeup in the morning and getting ready and things, and then I'll stop and have a cup of tea and watch a bit of it while I'm planning my next video, or you know. And he's talking about the relationships between this particular woman and her father, and I think that's what's reminded me of things. But there's been quite a few times over the last little while where I could have just been in floods of tears and stayed that way, but I haven't. I'm sort of pushing it down, and I don't know. Do you remember I've talked before about it being a balance, that I think that you've got to get on with life. You know, you can't sit and cry all day every day like everybody else. I have to work, I have to make money, I have to take Watson to the vet, I have to look after Watson and walk Watson and make dinner and eat and do the shopping, and you know, there are things that need to be done. I simply cannot. Nobody can they really? Just, you know, collapse and cry for months and months. And also that won't change anything. You know, I know that getting upset and whatnot won't bring Dad back, and it won't change anything. I'm doing that thing again. Remember I said to you in one other video, I start moving things around and straightening things when I feel stressed. But I also don't think that it's healthy to push feelings down. You know, a lot of you have said that to me, that, you know, don't stop yourself being upset, don't push it all down and ignore it completely. But I'm struggling to know where that middle ground is, I think, and I'm probably going too far the way of stopping myself getting upset, and just when, you know, if I think about it and I feel like I'm starting to get upset, like this morning, I just pressed pause on that and was like, no, I'm not going to watch now, I'll watch something else, because I need to film this, I need to film another video, or I need to, you know, do whatever. And I don't know, I'll never have time to stop and cry, but at the same time I don't want to push it down so much that it starts affecting me in other ways. I don't know, am I making any sense to you guys? Do you know what I'm saying? That where's that, you know, when do you allow yourself to cry? You can't allow yourself to cry constantly every single time you're reminded of them, because it would just interfere too much with life. And I also feel like it will put me back, because when I have allowed myself to cry, so I'm not saying I'm not crying at all. Like the other day, Kev and I were watching something that we watch regularly called Station 19. It's just kind of like Grey's Anatomy. It's actually a spin-off of Grey's Anatomy, I think. And I love Grey's Anatomy, I love this Station 19. And of course her dad died, and so she's having dreams of her dad, and you know, that's happened to me, and that made me upset. And then Kev was asking me about it afterwards, and I was just like, I don't want to talk about it because I'll just continue on crying. But when I have had a moment like that where something's happened on TV and I've been upset and I've just cried through it, the feeling stays with me, like it takes the sparkle off of life for a day or so, and I sort of feel like I'm on autopilot and I'm just getting on with things because I know I have to get on with things. You know, it takes me a while to get over it. And something happened, now what even was it? There was a couple of weeks ago where something happened that was a big reminder. I can't even remember what it was. I've obviously blocked it out of my memory. But it just threw me for a loop for the day, and I was kind of wandering around a bit aimlessly, trying to get things done, but not really getting anything done. And so I think that's the fear with me as well, is that if I keep on having these breakdowns all over the place, I'm wasting so much time, and it's not going to bring Dad back, you know. And I know that we all have to go through the grieving process, and I know I do, but it can't simply be to just sit and cry your eyes out every time you think of him. That can't be the only way to get over grieving, you know, or to get over the loss of somebody, or to accept the loss of somebody and get used to the loss of somebody. You're never going to get over it. So yeah, that's kind of where I am at the moment. I think I think it might have been the tobacco thing. I'm still handing out Dad's tobacco. He had so much tobacco, I can't tell you. So I'm just giving 2 pouches to people, and people have really been grateful, apart from one person who I almost went, no, I'm taking it back, you know, being so ungrateful. But they were actually quite rude. But I think there's so many little things and little reminders of Dad, which, you know, there will be for the rest of my life. I haven't done anything with his ashes. They're still sitting in the cupboard. I feel comforted. I have to say, I feel comforted that he's here, because remember I said that I used to always sort of have these moments of like, well, where is he? Where is he gone? When I think that now, I'm like, he's in the cupboard. That's where he is. He's here with me. And so he hasn't left me. He's with me. He's actually physically with me. So I find that a strange comfort. I know my brother was talking about having a memorial. We had talked about the fact that because nobody could come to the funeral from our family, everybody up here was, I was his only family member. Everybody else was from the church or just friends of his, because nobody was allowed to travel. We were in complete lockdown at the time. We talked about having a memorial possibly next year on his birthday, which is in May. But I'm not really sure what a memorial would be. In fact, maybe that was the day that I felt really upset, because I think my brother had mentioned talking about it, bless him, and, you know, perhaps starting to organise it. And I don't think the time is right. Certainly for me, I can't currently relive another experience of remembering Dad and remembering that he's gone. I'm not yet at that point where I'm like, let's celebrate his life and remember him with happiness. I still find it very, very upsetting, and I feel like I'm not even over seeing his dead body. I'm not over seeing the coffin, and, you know, I feel like I need to heal from that first before there's any kind of memorial. But I'm also not sure, you know, I feel like we need to wait until the world's in a bit of a more normal situation where people can freely travel. But I don't even know where to start with a memorial. Like, where should we have it? Because he's got a daughter in Peterborough, a daughter in Nottingham. My brother, his son is in Milton Keynes, another son in Birmingham. His wife, obviously, Eve, would want to go. She's up here. I don't even know where we would have it. Is it something you have in a church? What do you do for a memorial? You know, tell me, if anybody's had a memorial, I would like to know, what is it and how did you do it? And what did you do at the service? That would be really interesting to me. So yeah, it was maybe that day that made me upset, because like I said, I certainly don't feel in a mentally healthy place enough to go through that again, to go through a kind of situation of remembering and saying goodbye or whatever it is. I almost just want to put it in its little box and not forget it, but accept it, you know, learn to accept it. I'm learning to accept it, because I have moments of, I'm never going to see him again. I'm never going to see him again. And I think, you know, they're saying that time heals, but I think that now is the time where it's really, really difficult, because I miss him so much. You know, I now haven't seen him for 3 months, and I've never gone that long without seeing him, even perhaps when I was living abroad. But even then, I would speak to him on the phone every week. I would phone him when I lived in Spain. I phoned him every day. And when I lived in Ireland, I would phone him, not every day, sorry, every week. When I lived in Ireland, I would phone him every week, and I would fly home every now and then to see him. So, you know, this is probably the longest I've gone without any contact with him at all. And so from that aspect, time doesn't heal. I think it gets worse before it gets better. There's obviously is a time that passes where you get used to the fact that you'll never see them again. But at the moment, I'm just like, I really miss him. I want to see him, and I can't. And I also have probably fears that I'm sure a lot of people have, which are that I'm trying to remember what he looks like and try and keep that in my head. I'm trying to remember what his voice sounds like and keep that in my head. I've got his wedding speech, so, you know, I filmed the whole wedding, so I've got that of him. And of course his testimony that I put up the other day. But, you know, you just think, I'm forgetting the smell of him and what it was like to chat to him, and it's only been 3 months. It's like I want to keep that alive. And even like the smell of his shirt, I've still got his shirt in a bag in the cupboard, and I was like, that's starting to fade as well, you know. So anyway, that's where I'm at. there are people in my family that have got really big health situations going on just now, which I just can't imagine how hard it is to cope with that, because it was really hard to cope with Watson being ill, but thankfully at least Watson is now pretty healthy, because that was really hard coping with that and Dad, you know, so I can't imagine what my sibling is going through. Anyway, fairly quick chat today. I'm continuing to do these because, as I said to you, it helps me to just get things off my chest and talk, but also so many of you have said that this is helpful and that not many people talk about grief, and that I've noticed that YouTubers that have, you know, have a loss, you'll see them maybe do one video telling you where they're a complete wreck, and then they'll come back and just continue on with videos, and you don't really hear about anything else about how they're doing. So yeah, thank you so much for your continued support. I'm so sorry for the losses that you have suffered as well. And I'm realising that it doesn't matter how many years pass, I feel like I will feel the loss as if it was yesterday in 10 years time. You know, I feel like every time I think about it, like if I get upset about it, that it's not a lesser pain, if you know what I mean. It's just that the pain happens less often. At the beginning, you feel that pain constantly, every day, all day. Whereas now it's like I can switch that part off and get on with things. But when I feel it in the same way, and I don't imagine that will lessen. I don't know, maybe it will. You can tell me, those of you that are a bit further along. And I'm sure I will be able to remember and smile. And even Kevin and I have had a few jokes about Dad. But yeah, anyway, you guys have said that it is useful. So I hope it continues to be so. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll speak to you again soon.